First of all, good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Today, we want to talk about we've all experienced over the last 3 years significant cost increases in all parts of our industry, and exploration has been particularly hit by this. And forever, we're experiencing a lot of pressure on what we can do to minimise these cost pressures as we continue to move to a carbon-free environment. Exploration of those critical minerals over the next 3 years is really critical to our development and to our ability to go carbon neutral. So I'd like to introduce Andrew Elf as the CEO of Mitchell's, great business partner for Imdex, and we'll get in. So Andrew, and I guess let's start with talking about the drill rig today. What drives productivity, and what are you thinking about technology, people, and process to maximise that?
Thanks very much, Shaun, and thanks for having me in today, and thanks everyone for coming and having a listen. So, look, the first and foremost thing that we focus on as a drilling business and as a team is having the drilling bit on the bottom and turning and spinning. We are not making money if that bit is not on the bottom, turning and spinning. So everything we do from people, technology, processes is with a focus on making that happen. And then secondly, how can we get it to turn faster and penetrate faster? And really, that's at the core of some of those things in the opening there, that if we can do that more productively, we are going to be more efficient and manage those costs for our clients.
Excellent. Thanks, Andrew. And I guess one of the big challenges there is going to be around people and the talent market and how you can make sure they've got the knowledge and skills necessary to keep that bit on bottom.
Yeah, that's correct. Mitchell's has obviously got a long, proud history in the drilling industry. We've been around for over 50 years, and we have worked in the oil and gas sector as well. Here in Australia now, we operate in metalliferous drilling predominantly, and really with that oil and gas background, you've seen data used for a long time. You've seen people directed how to drill a hole, and I think what we're seeing more and more in our space is, rather than individual drillers using the force, using data and smarts and those sort of things, and probably adopting a little bit more of a technical oil and gas approach to drill more consistently, more efficiently, more productively.
So Mitchell's is well known in our industry as being a leader on all new technologies. So what innovations right now is Mitchell's using that's keeping you that step ahead of most of your competitors?
Certainly part of our vision is to find a better way, and our chairman, Nathan Mitchell, is a big driver of that amongst myself and the rest of the team. So we're always looking at how we can find a better way in the business, and for us that is being a leader from all aspects in regards to people, safety, culture, equipment, etc. But to answer your question, it's really about digitisation of our business. I mean, that opening there with the video, turning data into gold, that's exactly where the drilling industry is going. I think it's a laggard in many respects. There's not a whole lot of large, sophisticated drilling companies, but certainly for us, what we're doing is getting data from all of those things that were mentioned in the opening too, different sensors from different places, and bringing it all together to digitise what we do and to offer that to our clients.
So it seems that a real chance for us to release this data is, how do the technology companies work with people like yourself at Mitchell's, other drilling contractors, and then link in the resource companies? How do you see that playing out and the critical nature of that?
My experience with innovation and bringing solutions to complex problems is that it's, in this day and age, it's extremely difficult to do it alone. I think you do need to collaborate. I think that's critically important. I think the mining company's not going to get there on its own. We're not going to get there on our own. Either is Imdex, but either is Imdex and Mitchell together. So I think the three people, or the three parties, the miners, Imdex and drillers, whoever they are, need to work together very closely to deliver that solution to the client. Everyone's got their own role to play in that digitisation process and getting that data to the client faster and of a higher quality.
Yeah, and I guess the openness of sharing the data is going to become critical for us if we want to apply AI. And how do we move past where people are trying to minimise access or control data?
We have certainly made buying decisions as a business based on people giving open access to data. Some companies sort of say, well, we've got this system and you have to use that, and we're not prepared to give you the data and let you use it in an open way.
Yep.
We have stayed away from those products and bought elsewhere. So I think everybody should be open with their data, and I think that's going to give you the best opportunity as a business in the long run. If what you do is high quality and you can stand by it, let people do what they want with the data and for the betterment of their business or their client's business.
And you mentioned that Mitchell's history had oil and gas. What do you see, or how far do you think we are behind in catching up to where oil and gas drilling was?
The big thing that the oil and gas drillers have got is data, and they've had it for a long time. And you think about the cost of drilling, and they've had satellite communications and all those things. We're now getting Starlink on surface rigs that we operate. We're now getting more connectivity underground, and the sensors and all of that technology is getting better. So we're getting to a point where a smaller, less sophisticated drilling operation can now start getting the data that the oil and gas people have had for many, many years. And so I think now that we can do that, we can start catching up. I think we're probably still 10 years behind where they are, but I think within 5 to 10 years, we'll probably be very similar. And you'll find, for example, if you've got a drilling program where you might have 5 or 10 rigs on the same site today, 5 or 10 drillers drill different ways. They do their own thing a little bit within reason, but there'll be a lot more commonality across those 5 or 10 rigs on a site in the future, a lot more consistency, a lot more planning, a lot more visibility of how people are doing things, and that will certainly make the productivity levels increase further.
And the real-time decision is something that a lot of industries talk about. Coming from oil and gas, that was something that they did. Where do you think that is from a priority point of view for the industry and for Mitchells themselves?
For those in the room that are technical in nature or geos or exposed to drilling programs, I think you sort of just got to think, how many metres do you drill that you didn't really need to drill? And again, getting that data faster and quicker and of a higher quality to the point of core being photographed in high resolution and sent back, or scans for properties being done, and getting those things as the core is coming out of the hole. You might pull a hole up quicker, 12 hours quicker, 24 hours quicker. So again, just more productive, safer, better bang for your buck, faster decision making, better decision making.
Yeah, there's a lot to do, but if you think about what's the advice you'd give all the tech companies around what would make the difference for Mitchells, what thing would you be looking from us to enable this to continue this path?
I think being open with that data, number one, is really important. I certainly think, for us, there's a whole range of data we need to get from, could even be cameras on rigs and looking at what people are doing or procedures they're following. It can be downhole data. It can be data from the rig, from engines. Yeah. There's a whole host of things that are going to come from different places that we as a drilling company need to basically bring together to then make the best decisions in the interest of the program, combined with sensor data and all these other things. So really, it's just having that data in an open manner that we can bring together and cross, sort of cross the data and make best decisions from it is really where we need to go and what we need to do to get the most out of it.
Yeah, I think open data is the most common theme that we seem to hear. I think the other one is the readiness to receive. As we're trying to catch up to some industries, are we ready to receive the volume of data that currently moves through?
Yeah, it's. We use obviously all cloud-hosted things, and I suppose the volume is unlimited. But it's going to be the right dashboards, looking at the right drivers, looking at the right things, and making the right decisions. I certainly think it would be very easy to get lost and not perhaps focus on the right things that are going to drive the right decision making or the right outcomes.
So we've talked a lot about the things that have to happen now. I'd be really interested, if you fast forward 5 years, what's changed in the past 5 is enormous. Where do you see the industry being, and where do you see Mitchell's needs to be to maintain that level where they're one of the premier drillers in Australia?
Look, I think it's a fantastic time to be in the mining industry and in the drilling industry in particular. As I said, I think we've been laggards in many respects in regards to the technology in our particular industry. And it's really nice now with things like Starlink and more communication underground and better sensors and actual hardware. That's really going to drive that innovation and technology in our space. And so looking at the future, I think you really do need to have a digitised rig and a digitised offering with all that data coming in and cross-referencing and matching it and giving that to your clients. 90% of our business is with world-class global miners, and they want world-class service providers. So to remain at the forefront, it's not only people, culture, safety, equipment, but it is critical that we get that digitisation offering in place, working with key business partners like IMDEX, to solve those challenges of tomorrow, to find deeper and more complex ore bodies.
Yeah, it's the depth and the complexity and the scarcity is becoming a real challenge for us all. And the restriction on people, the quality that we can get out of the market is more challenging, and the digital path can help us with that. Is that something that you apply from a training and development for your team?
Absolutely. It is good people are hard to find. We're a people business. We're a service business. That's what it's all about. And certainly, if we can train people up to undertake technical drilling in a more efficient manner, quicker and faster, then that's better for us and our clients. And certainly from very basic things like having a lot of our training now is videos. You think about changing a light bulb or something at home, you jump on YouTube. We've got that now, and again, getting more data out of rigs and how to drill a hole is going to be critical. I don't know how many people here have seen the movie Moneyball. That's probably a good way to think about what we're trying to do with our teams. Sort of going, okay, well, this driller is the best between this distance and that distance, or this depth and that depth, and this driller's better in this ground, or this driller's better on this rig, and then taking those learnings and applying it across that type of rig or across that type of ground or at that depth, and then saying, this is the way you drill that hole, or this is the way you drill at that site. And so that's where we need to go, and that's what we need to be bringing to the table. And then obviously you think about the whole rest of the site. You're thinking about automated drilling muds. A lot of people think that drilling muds, drilling fluids is simple. It's not. It's complex, complex chemistry, and having things like that automated, and then linking the driller, the ground, the depth, the rig, the fluids together, and going, okay, how do we do this hole the best? That's the kind of things you've got to bring together to get the best results into the future.
Yeah, it's a much more complex ecosystem than I think was appreciated a few years ago. And I think MWD, or the measuring while drilling, is really going to be one of the key things that link into that. Is that something that Mitchells are looking at?
We've certainly used those tools extensively in the oil and gas field, and we've certainly now using those tools in the metalliferous area. So we're certainly using those tools in areas of deep cover, and certainly using them to drill at very high speed with extreme accuracy. To try and find those deeper deposits. Certainly in Western Australia, up north, and in South Australia, certainly been very successful. So I think you'll see, always more and more of that sort of technology coming into what we're doing day to day. And obviously some of the tools that IMDEX have got coming out with directional drilling, etc. as well.
Excellent. Yeah, and how do we shrink down the technology from oil and gas, and how do we commercialise it so that we can have it on thousands of rigs around the world is going to be the challenge.
Yeah, and that's traditionally been a innovation pathway in our drilling sector. Obviously big oil and gas, huge budgets, big tools, expensive. And then over time, though, they get slimmed down, they're made smaller, they're made more economical, and we can bring them into our industry and use them. And I certainly think that, we've done that, you've done that, and that's a theme in the future. So if you always keep one eye on what the big oil and gas is doing, you can sort of think in a few years' time that's going to be coming down into our area as well.
Excellent. Well, I think it's time for us to wrap it up. I'd really like to thank you for taking the time today, Andrew. It's always great to hear the insights of one of the leading drilling contractors in Australia, and helps understand where our industry's going. And thanks everybody for your time.
Thanks, Shaun. Good on you.